जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
Evening Prime, the prime time news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice. Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया.
All the best.
We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल। देश विदेश की वो खबरें जिससे है अपनों का खास नाता।
जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
News at 5, in association with Accoland Amusement Park, Annapurna Foods, Junior Holics, and Biz Farm Biscuits.
Neda conveyor Himanta Biswa Sharma speaks on crucial Naga issue, says enough room for discussions to continue, only talks can ensure solution. Corruption charge against Sikkim Chief Secretary, state-based Sikkimese Nagarik Samaj files complaint with Vigilance Cell alleging misappropriation of funds to the tune of over rupees 38 crore. Tipramotha Chief Pradyut Debbarma rubbishes speculations of possible alliance with BJP, accuses Saffron Party for spreading propaganda. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma continues mega campaign for Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council polls. Chief Minister Sharma hails the Gorkha community as indigenous to Assam. And African swine fever threat in Manipur. Fresh cases reported from state. Close to 100 pigs die from infection. Hello and welcome to News at 5. I'm Priyadarshini Medhi and we start the bulletin with a big story at the SAR. NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today said there is enough room for discussion in the Naga issue and that if talks continue, solution to the issue will be reached at in some point of time. In an exclusive conversation with Northeast Live correspondent Sarah Konyak, Sharma, who held a meeting with the core committee on Naga political issue in Dimapur last evening, added that while there are roadblocks in every complex issue with discussion, all concerns can be resolved. NEDA convener Sharma also expressed confidence that under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and the matured stand of the NSC and IM, the Naga issue will be resolved in due course of time. Well, terming the Naga issue as a very complex and sensitive issue, Chief Minister Sharma said that his and the core committee's role will be to be see that the talks between the government of India and the NSC and IM continues till a solution is arrived at. So viewers, now let's listen into this exclusive conversation. Take a look.
The core committee on Naga political issue, and you had a closed door sitting yesterday. The committee have sought for your support to mediate in the ongoing peace talks, especially after the 28th meeting and as well as the 31st meeting, where the NSA and IM have reiterated its then that they will not accept any solution less than the flag and the constitution. What is your observation, and how did the meeting go?
I have already indicated that we, as a basically, I, as a chief minister of a neighboring state, my role can only be possibly offer good wishes, best wishes for conclusion of a successful negotiation. The negotiation has to be taken place, or issues has to be sorted out between Government of India and NSA and IM leadership. Whether it is a me or the core committee, we can only see that both Government of India and NSC and IM keep talking. There will be roadblock because Naga political issue is a complex issue, very, very sensitive issue. And I am sure that under the leadership of Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi and Home Minister Sri Amit Shah, and also because of the matured stand of NSC and IM leadership, issue will be resolved. It might take some time, but we should have lot of patience.
So, Mr. Samar, like you have rightly pointed out, Naga issue being a complex issue, how challenging is it going to be for both the negotiating parties to come to a meeting point since the deadlock has been going on?
I think before you start any negotiation, there will be some issue which look that probably solution may not come on this issue. But as you walk along, as you keep on talking between yourself, always some formulation comes up. Now, Government of India has an official interlocutor. He has already met NSC and IM leadership on many occasions. They know each other. And I am sure that during the process of discussion, if there is any issue which is still looks to be unresolvable or looks to be complex, I am sure that with the passage of time, all these things will be able to settle, because at the end of the day, we all want peace, stability, and progress in Nagaland.
Mr. Sharma, one of the members of the core committee have stated that in yesterday's meeting you had conveyed that there's enough room to accommodate the flag in the constitution. Can you briefly tell us more on this?
No, I have not said that we can accommodate flag and constitution, because that is not my subject. Only thing I have stated in the core committee that there is enough room for continuing discussion. I am neither authorized to speak on flag, neither I am authorized to speak on constitution, neither I am authorized to speak on Naga peace talk. What I can only say that let there be discussion, let discussion keeps on happening, and at some point of time there will be some solution. Only thing I have said that there is enough room for discussion. We can keep on talking. I have not mentioned flag, I have not mentioned constitution, neither I have touched any sensitive issue. because I know that interpretation will be very, very difficult when it comes out of the room. So if any core committee member has said that, then I politely said that was not the case.
My last question to you, Mr. Sharma. When are you likely to meet the Prime Minister or the Home Minister in Manipur?
I keep on meeting on the issue related to Assam, but I am sure that CM of Nagaland will meet Home Minister, and he will express what is happening in Nagaland. I should not directly talk on Prime Minister and Home Minister regarding Naga issue until and unless I am accompanied by CM Nagaland. So that's the protocol.
Now, the NEDA convener has made several significant points. First, there is enough room for discussion in the Naga issue. Second point is that any issue can be resolved through talks. Well, Sharma also mentioned that roadblocks are normal in any complex issue. So, what does it mean? Has the Naga issue become more complicated? Is there a solution in sight? So, viewers, now we cut across live to our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain, for a perspective on this. So, over to you, Wasbir.
Yes, Priya, you see, it was in the summer of 1997 that the government of India and the NSCN-IM had struck a ceasefire agreement. From then on, the Naga peace talks had actually started. And today is the summer of 2022, and we are posing this question whether the deadlock in the Naga peace talks can ever be broken. Now, if we are asking this question, it is only because on the 31st of May, the Emergency National Assembly of the NSCN-IM had adopted a unanimous resolution saying that there can be no solution unless the government of India concede their demand of a separate flag and constitution for the Nagas. Now, what does this mean? Does this NSCN-IM on its part has very, very categorically stated that there can be no solution without its core demand. They said that they're sticking to their quote-unquote national principles, and they have made it clear, because this time NSCN-IM cannot go back on their demand, because the meeting was attended by 2,000 NSCN leaders and members. But the question that a lot of people are asking is, what was the NSCN-IM doing in the past 25 years? Why were these issues raised? Were these issues not raised in the last 25 years that the negotiations had taken place? Now, will the NSCN-IM say that negotiations had not made progress during the last 25 years that the talks were going on? A lot of people would also say that yes, there had been a lot of differences which have been resolved during the last 25 years, because the NSCN-IM started their demand with their demand. They started with their demand for an independent Naga nation outside India. They are not talking about that now. They said that they want an integrated northeastern region under one administrative setup. That meant that they want all Naga areas, not only in Nagaland, but in Manipur, Arunachal, and Assam, within one administrative umbrella. One is not hearing really about that now, and that they are only talking about a flag and constitution. So why shouldn't the government of India accept the demand? So this is also one point of view that has come to the fore. But what NSCN-IM sources close to the NSCN-IM are telling our channel now is that there was a time during the discussions with former interlocutor R.N. Ravi, they said the NSCN-IM sources are now claiming that R.N. Ravi had agreed to regard the Naga constitution or the Yazabo as the Naga basic law. This is what is the NSCN-IM sources claim, sources close to the NSCN-IM claiming now. They say that R.N. Ravi at one point had come to regard the Naga constitution or the Yazabo as the Naga basic law. These sources are telling us that the Naga basic law was to stipulate things like the Naga customary laws, Naga way of life, Naga way of village administration, and so on, and that it was on course to have been incorporated into the Indian constitution. Now this question arises, if R.N. Ravi had indeed accepted the Naga Yazabo or the constitution, giving it a name of a Naga basic law, and was about to incorporate it into the Indian constitution as part of the possible agreement, then why did the NSCN-IM fall out with R.N. Ravi? Why did NSCN-IM wanted a new interlocutor? So these are questions that are being asked at this juncture when the talk seems to have reached some kind of a deadlock. But again, the question arises, now that there is a deadlock, now that no one is sure as to when a breakthrough is going to be achieved, the question arises whether the talks need to be elevated to a political level. If we are to look at what the core committee on the Naga peace talks headed by Nephew Rio, what do they want? It seems they want that the talks needs to be elevated to a political level. That is the reason why at their own core committee meeting a couple of days ago, and during their discussions with the NSC and IM, they raised the issue. They said that NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is the Chief Minister of Assam, in his capacity as convener of NEDA, need to be more actively involved in the Naga peace talks so as to give it a momentum and perhaps also take it to its logical end. So in this backdrop, yesterday, NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma had a lengthy meeting with the entire core committee at a resort near Dimapur. Now, in this meeting, the core committee had urged Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma to apprise the union government that it should uphold the commitments that its interlocutors have made to the NSC and IM during the lengthy negotiation process. Now, what is Himanta Biswa Sharma saying? Is he going to accept that role? Does he see himself in the role of a facilitator? Now, much as the core committee would like Himanta Biswa Sharma to be an active negotiator, perhaps in a bid to take the negotiations to a political level, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma has been extremely cautious in the last few days. Today, this morning, in his first reaction after last night's core committee meeting, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma has told our channel that he is not considering himself, he doesn't look at himself as a peace facilitator. He said that is not his mandate. He said that he had never talked about flag and constitution. He said that there is enough room for discussions. There could be roadblocks whenever there is a discussion on a complicated issue, but roadblocks can be overcome, perhaps overcome when the two sides keep talking or keep walking along. So he said solutions can emerge. So now what is significant is that a leader of the stature of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, a very key player as far as the BJP is concerned in the whole of the Northeast, during the last 6 years that he has been convener of the Northeast Democratic Alliance, he has been able to establish a lot of, he has been able to make bridges or connect with the political leadership in the whole of the Northeastern region. He is looked upon to as someone who will be able to resolve the issues concerning the Northeastern region. So in this backdrop, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma saying that there is room for discussions, there is room for negotiations, a solution can emerge, the roadblock can be overcome. So these are significant indicators. Then he said that even if he has to meet the Prime Minister or the Union Home Minister to talk about the Naga issue, he would like to have Nagaland Chief Minister Nephew Rio by his side. Because at the end of the day, the Nagaland Chief Minister is the elected representative of the Nagas, elected representative of the people of Nagaland. So in this context, he said that he would like to have Nephew Rio by his side if at all he talks to Prime Minister Narendra Modi or the Home Minister Amit Shah. But the big question is that, like it or not, whether directly or indirectly, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma has been drawn into the Naga peace talks. At least he had given a patient hearing to what the entire core committee had to say for several hours in that meeting last night. And then the comment this morning, the first official comment this morning that talks can go on, there's room for discussions and so on, and that even if he meets, he would like to meet with the Nagaland Chief Minister, meaning that he doesn't rule out the possibility of his meeting the central leaders and explaining some of the sticky issues, and might also come up with suggestions on how to resolve some of these issues. But at the end of the day, a lot of questions will be directed both at the government as well as the NSC and IM, because the talks are not going for 5 years, 10 years. It has been going on for 25 years. And obviously, the common Nagas would like to ask, what have you achieved during the last 25 years? Why are such major differences remaining even today? So these are questions that are obvious questions that are being asked. But as far as the other group is concerned, that is the NNPG, nobody is asking questions to them because they have themselves made it clear that there is nothing to discuss anymore. They are ready to sign on the dotted lines. Whatever is the agreed position, they are ready to accept. But that's not the case with the NSA and IM. So what course the talks takes in the days ahead remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, but as of now, it looks like there is a deadlock, and it would reach a lot of maneuverings by the government of India to once again resume the dialogue and reach a middle path. And the NSC and IM also has a responsibility to try and reach a middle ground. And unless a middle ground is achieved, the talks are going to remain deadlocked for I don't know when. How long?
All right, Wasbir, thank you so much for all those details. And time for a very short break now. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Here, gravity and physics don't call the shots, and sound travels slower than you. This is a different kind of place. That's why we're looking for different kind of people, for whom excellence is not a job, but a way of being, be it in the sky or on the ground. We are looking for an invincible team of invincible people, people who are a cut above.
Join the Indian Air Force to be a cut above.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया.
All the best. We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल। देश विदेश की वो खबरें जिससे है अपनों का खास नाता।
जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
Evening Prime, the prime time news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 5 and now moving on to a big story from Sikkim. State-based Sikkime Nagarik Samaj, a non-political organization, has filed a complaint with the State Vigilance Department against Chief Secretary Suresh Chandra Gupta for allegedly diverting disaster management funds to the tune of rupees 38 crore on the pretext of procuring rice, pulses and other essentials during the COVID pandemic. The NGO also accused the Chief Secretary of illegally receiving a fund of rupees 46 lakh from a private firm. While the Sikkime Nagarik Samaj has filed an FIR with Sikkim Vigilance Cell, the NGO is also demanding a CBI probe into the allegations.
We came and meet the Director Vigilance Police Government of Sikkim, and we have submitted our FIR, and he have taken it positively, and he has given assurance that he will be taking the necessary step and necessary investigation now on. There are two issues. One was like a proprietorship firm called Analyst have deposited an amount of 47 lakhs in the account of Mr. S.C. Gupta, Suresh Chandra Gupta, who is the Chief Secretary of Sikkim. I believe that this is to evade the Money Laundering Act 2005. Number two is during a pandemic time, an amount of 34 crores 40 lakhs rupees has been diverted from disaster management to the essential commodity. They wanted to purchase essential commodities and distribute it among the people, but neither a single cereal is purchased nor it was distributed. So these are the two major issues, and this is highlighted in the inspection report, audit report of the Comptroller and Auditor General of Sikkim. So since this issue concerns to the highest post of bureaucracy, that is the Chief Secretary of Sikkim. So we are very concerned about this, and we are very sad also that people working in such a top level bureaucracy is doing such kind of corruption. So we have registered our case here today. The Director Saab has given us the assurance that you will initiate the investigation. So you have given assurance that you will be working on it, and I'm hopeful, I'm positive that this will be resolved, or the justice will be brought. This time we are pretty sure that if all agencies fail, now we are optimistic that agencies, Vigilance Department, Sikkim Police, and CBI and ED will take cognizance of the matter. But if nothing comes out, then we'll go to the public and make it a mass public movement against corruption.
And to know more, we are being joined over phone line with our correspondent from Gangtok, Prakash Adhikari. So, Prakash, what is the basis of the allegations, and has there been any reaction from the state government so far in the case?
Yes, Priya. In a press conference held on Thursday, Sikkim Nagarik Samaj General Secretary spokesperson Asang Sabha Chief Secretary S.P. Gupta of corruption and have demanded his immediate removal till investigation are completed. And now today, Sikkim Nagarik Samaj filed a FIR against Chief Secretary at Vigilance Office. But till now, no response from the state government in the Chief Secretary Office. Yeah.
Prakash, what about the allegation of receiving over rupees 45 lakh from a private firm? What about that?
Yes. Sikkim Nagarik claimed that Sikkim Chief Secretary S.P. Gupta about the alleged embezzlement of the COVID-19 pandemic fund of the about 47 crore Oriental State Fund means the procurement of the essential materials.
Prakash Adhikari, thank you so much for all those details. And moving on now. After announcing that a cabinet reshuffle set to take place on June 9th, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has said that none of the present cabinet ministers would be removed during the reshuffling. Chief Minister Sharma said that just one more minister would be inducted into the cabinet and a small swearing-in ceremony would be held for the same. The induction of the new minister would see the cabinet expanded with of the portfolios, with one of the portfolios being given to the new ministers in question. Yesterday, Chief Minister Sharma said that that new minister from one of the hill districts of the state would be inducted into the cabinet on June 9th. Regarding this, Chief Minister Sharma cleared the air that none of the present ministers would be exed from the cabinet.
অহা 9 তাৰিখে 11 বজাত অসম মন্ত্ৰী সভাৰ সম্প্ৰসাৰণ হ'ব, ক্ষুদ্ৰ সম্প্ৰসাৰণ এটা হ'ব আৰু কাৰ্বি আলঙৰ নিৰ্বাচন সামৰিহে এই বিষয়ে মই চিন্তা কৰিম, কিন্তু বহুত ডাঙৰ ৰিচাফুল নহয়, একেবাৰে এটা সৰু ৰিচাফুল। আজিৰ ড্ৰপ কোনো নহয়, ড্ৰপৰ কথা নাই, তেনেকুৱা একো কথা নাই। মন্ত্ৰী সঞ্জয় কিষাণক ইতিমধ্যে আমি তেওঁৰ ভুলৰ বাবে যিখিনি ক'ব লাগে সেইখিনি তেওঁক আমি লিখিতভাৱে কৈ দিছোঁ।
And on to Tripura now. Well, Tripura Mothaji Pradyut Debarma has rubbished all sorts of political speculations after a photo of him talking to BJP leaders went viral. In a self-released audio clip, the Tripura royal scion termed it as a cheap stunts in a public space. Not only this, Pradyut Debarma alleged that the BJP had clicked the photograph and used it for propaganda. The Tripura Motha chief said that had only cordial talks and with the BJP leaders at the airport lounge and no political issues were discussed during the course. Pradyut Debarma alleged that nonsense is being spread whenever he happens to come across BJP leaders. It may be mentioned that a picture of Tripura Mothaji Pradyut Debarma with some of the BJP's central and state leaders at the VIP lounge of the Agartala airport has triggered a storm of political speculations in Tripura. In the photo that has since gone viral on social media, Pradyut Debarma can be seen with BJP leaders like Kailash Vijayvargiya, Binod Sarkar, Kishore Burman, and Papiya Datta. So, viewers, now let's listen in as to what Pradyut Debbarma had to say.
एयरपोर्ट में मैं आज पहुंचा और उसी एयरपोर्ट में अपना लगेज के लिए वेट करते करते वीआईपी रूम में ये बीजेपी के लीडर भी थे। उन्होंने नमस्कार बोला, मैंने नमस्कार बोला। एक लीडर ने पूछा कि ये एयरपोर्ट आपके फादर ने बनाया या ग्रैंडफादर ने बनाया? मैंने कहा मेरे ग्रैंडफादर ने बनाया। नमस्ते बोला, मेरा लगेज आया, मैं निकल गया, उनका सामान आया, वो लोग निकल गए। लेकिन जिसने ये फोटो उठाया ये बीजेपी का ही अंदर का आदमी है, क्योंकि बीजेपी का एक सेल है, आईटी सेल, जो हमेशा गलत न्यूज़, आदमी को कंफ्यूज कराना, एक दूसरे को ऊपर झगड़ा करना, शंका कराने का उनका एक हमेशा एक स्ट्रेटजी रहता है, हमेशा एक उनका चाल चलन रहता है। मैं टीएमसी से बहुत लोगों को मिलता हूँ, कभी-कभी एयरपोर्ट में, कभी-कभी खाने के टाइम। मैं कांग्रेस के बहुत लीडर को मिलता हूँ, आज भी मिलता हूँ। जब हम लोग का प्रोग्राम होता है और वो वहीं में है तो हम लोग बात करते हैं। जितेंद्र बाबू, जिसको मैं बहुत इज्जत करता हूँ, मैं उसके घर भी जाता हूँ, उसके संग चाय भी पीता हूँ। ये क्यों बाहर नहीं निकलता है? लेकिन जब भी बाय चांस कोई पब्लिक एयरपोर्ट में हो या कहीं में हो, सीएम के संग अगर प्लेन में बैठा हो तो ये क्यों लीक होता है और हमेशा बीजेपी के संग ही क्यों लीक होता है?
And time for another short break. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with more news and updates. Stay with us.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया।
All the best. We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल। देश विदेश की वो खबरें जिससे है अपनों का खास नाता।
जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
সন্মানীয় ৰাইজ, আপোনালোকে নিশ্চয় জানে কেন্দ্ৰীয় চৰকাৰৰ এক ৰাষ্ট্ৰ এক ৰেচন কাৰ্ড আঁচনি ৰূপায়ণৰ লক্ষ্যৰে অসম চৰকাৰে ইতিমধ্যে বিভিন্ন পদক্ষেপ গ্ৰহণ কৰিছে। সুলভ মূল্যৰ সামগ্ৰী যোগানৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত যাতে হিতাধিকাৰীসকল প্ৰকৃততে উপকৃত হয়, সেই উদ্দেশ্য আগত ৰাখি ৰাজ্য চৰকাৰে এই ব্যৱস্থাৱলী হাতত লৈছে আৰু 2022 চনৰ 1 মেৰ পৰা কাৰ্যকৰী হোৱাকৈ ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় খাদ্য নিৰাপত্তা আইনৰ আওতাত প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী গৰীব কল্যাণ অন্ন যোজনাৰ অধীনত দৰিদ্ৰ সীমাৰেখাৰ তলত বাস কৰা লোকসকললৈ সুচাৰুৰূপে চাউল বিতৰণৰ ব্যৱস্থা লৈছে। ভাৰত চৰকাৰৰ দ্বাৰা প্ৰদান কৰা আধাৰযুক্ত ৰেচন কাৰ্ডৰ বিপৰীতেহে হিতাধিকাৰীসকলে প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী গৰীব কল্যাণ অন্ন যোজনাৰ অধীনত এই সুবিধা লাভ কৰিব পাৰিব। আধাৰ কাৰ্ডৰ গুৰুত্ব ইমানেই যে এটা পৰিয়ালৰ 10 জন সদস্যৰ 5 জনেহে যদি ৰেচন কাৰ্ডৰ সৈতে আধাৰ সংলগ্ন কৰে আৰু বাকি 5 জনে যদি আধাৰ কাৰ্ডৰ সৈতে ৰেচন কাৰ্ডখন সংলগ্ন নকৰে, তেন্তে সেই পৰিয়ালৰ কেৱল মাত্ৰ আধাৰ সংলগ্ন কৰা 5 জন সদস্যইহে সুলভ মূল্যৰ চাউল লাভ কৰিব। হিতাধিকাৰীসকলৰ সুবিধাৰ্থে ৰাজ্যৰ বিভিন্ন স্থানত বিশেষ আধাৰ সংলগ্নকৰণ শিবিৰ অনুষ্ঠিত হৈ আছে। প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী গৰীব কল্যাণ অন্ন যোজনাৰ অধীনত দৰিদ্ৰ সীমাৰেখাৰ তলত বাস কৰা লোকসকলে যাতে সুচাৰুৰূপে চাউল লাভ কৰে, তাৰ বাবে পৰিবহণকাৰী আৰু সুলভ মূল্যৰ দোকানীসকলক প্ৰাপ্যৰ ধন নিয়মীয়াকৈ আদায় দিয়াৰ ব্যৱস্থা কৰা হৈছে। ইয়াৰ সমান্তৰালকৈ ৰাজ্যৰ 33,257খন সুলভ মূল্যৰ দোকানত ই-পছ ডিভাইচ স্থাপন কৰা হৈছে। সুলভ মূল্যৰ দোকানীসকলে এই ই-পছ ডিভাইচ ব্যৱহাৰৰ জৰিয়তে সুলভ মূল্যৰ সামগ্ৰী গ্ৰাহকক যোগান ধৰিব। ইয়াৰ পৰিপ্ৰেক্ষিতত কোনো সুলভ মূল্যৰ দোকানীয়ে কোনো হিতাধিকাৰীক নিৰ্ধাৰিত নিৰিখতকৈ কম চাউল দিব নোৱাৰিব। যিসকল সুলভ মূল্যৰ দোকানীয়ে এই ডিভাইচ ব্যৱহাৰ নকৰে তেওঁলোকৰ অনুজ্ঞাপত্ৰও সোনকালে বাতিল কৰা হ'ব। শ্ৰদ্ধাৰ ৰাইজ, আপোনালোকৰ সহযোগিতাইহে প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী গৰীব কল্যাণ অন্ন যোজনাক 100% সফল ৰূপায়ণ সুনিশ্চিত কৰিব পাৰে। আহক এই ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি আটায়ে একেলগে আগবাঢ়ো। ধন্যবাদ।
Welcome back. You're watching Northeast Live. And now, before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. NEDA convener Himanta Biswa Sharma speaks on crucial Naga issue. Says enough room for discussions to continue. Only talks can ensure solution. Corruption charge against Sikkim Chief Secretary. State-based Sikkime Nagarik Samaj files complaint with Vigilance Cell alleging misappropriation of funds to the tune of over rupees 38 crore. Pramoda Chief Pradyut Debarma rubbishes speculations of possible alliance with BJP. Accuses Saffron Party for spreading propaganda. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma continues mega campaign for Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council polls. Chief Minister Sharma hails Gorkha community as indigenous to Assam. And African swine fever threat in Manipur. Fresh cases reported from state. Close to 100 pigs die from infection. Moving on now. Well, despite improvement in the flood scenario in various parts of this Assam, residents of Thaijuwari in Assam's Dima Hasao district are still feeling the effects of unprecedented floods and devastating landslides. The river Diung near Thaijuwari has witnessed massive swelling, with the bridge over Leilang Dasa completely inundated in floodwaters. Moreover, a vast stretch of agricultural land has also been completely inundated, causing heavy loss to the people of Thaijuwari, where at least 105 houses have been affected by the floods. It may be mentioned that Thaijuwari remained cut off from the rest of the country for days together and is now connected to Lanka after the clearance of mud and temporary repair of a few breaches. Restoration work from Gujung viewpoint towards Chotowapu is also nearing completion. Meanwhile, a similar situation also persists at John Sorhadi, where the condition of villagers are more precarious as vast portions of agricultural land still remain inundated. Well, at least 5 houses in the village were damaged and entire paddy fields have also been badly affected. As a result, this year the villagers will not be able to cultivate their land, resulting in heavy losses since the flood waters are yet to dry. A vast horticulture garden with thousands of areca nut plants was also destroyed due to the floods. And meanwhile, local member of Autonomous Council, Monjit Naiding, with the initiative of Chief Executive Member, NC Hills Autonomous Council, Debolal Karlosa, and Dima Hasao Deputy Commissioner Nazreen Ahmed, managed to provide some relief to the villagers, but the sufferings of the people continue as a few villages are still submerged under floodwaters. Well, the locals are of the opinion that to tide over this current crisis will require massive support from the government side as well as concerted efforts from the people. Well, speaking to Northeast Live, Gaubura of Mojawari, Dokolal Kemprai, said that he has not witnessed such massive floods in the village in his entire lifetime, which he referred to as unprecedented and unexpected. Our colleague Swadip Hasamsa brings us an exclusive report from Ground Zero. Take a look.
डिमा हसम में भूस्खलन देखा है, बहुत सारा जगह में लैंडस्लाइड हमने दिखाया है। बहुत सारा मैं रास्ता काट ऑफ होने का, रास्ता सिंकिंग होने का देखा है, लेकिन हम आज दिखाने वाले हैं फ्लड का। तो डिमा हासांग में थाइजुआरी एक इलाका है, वहाँ पे फ्लड हुआ है, फ्लड इफेक्टेड हम बोल सकते हैं। और इस वक्त हम ठीक है, आप मेरे पीछे देख रहा होगा कैमरा में, ये जो सारा जो है 16 तारीख से पूरी तरह से फ्लड हो गया था, आज तक पानी जो है नहीं सूखा है। और हम यहाँ पर पैदल चलते चलते लगभग 4 किलोमीटर के बाद हम लोग यहाँ पर आखिर गाड़ी आने नहीं सकता है, हम लोग वॉक करके आया है।
शेड शेड सब पानी खा लिया। अभी जाने आने में रास्ता भी ब्लॉक है। खाना खाना पीना नहीं।
अच्छा।
टुली खुरके हाजिरा टुरा टुरी यो पक्षी खुरके खुरके।
सरकार से अभी तक रिलीफ नहीं मिला नहीं क्या आप लोग को?
सरकार से नहीं मिला।
कितना दिन हो गया आप लोग का गांव अभी?
15 दिन हुआ ना क्या?
15 दिन ना? 16 तारीख से।
16 तारीख से।
कितना गौर है यहाँ में?
यहाँ में 30 गौर है।
30 गौर है। तो कितना तो गौर खराब हुआ है साहब के?
फास्ट तो खराब हुआ।
पानी तो पूरा भर गया, ये ब्रिज लौटक दिखने नहीं मिला, पूरा डूब गया पानी। और यहाँ पे कितना पानी है, ये दुकान भी सब डूब गया पानी।
तो क्या क्या इधर में कोई क्षति हुआ है, कितना लॉस हुआ है, आपका लॉस क्या है, किसका कितना लॉस हुआ?
हमारा दुकान तो सामान निकल ही नहीं सकता, पूरा सामान भीज गया, डूब गया। हाँ, गौर में भी डूबा, गौर में भी सामान निकल नहीं सकता, सब डूब गया। इसे वाला फ्लड को भी जिंदगी में नहीं देखा।
अभी मतलब ये कब से है ये पानी?
ये 16 तारीख से है। आज तो दो तारीख बन चुका है। आज 2 तारीख और मतलब अभी तक पानी तो नहीं सूखा है।
यहाँ में तो देखने मिला कि पूरा नदी का जैसा हो गया, तो पहले कैसा था?
ये तो पानी खेती था पहले।
अच्छा,
पानी खेती था।
ये मेरे गांव उठा गया है।
हाँ हाँ, ये तो गांव है, तो थोड़ा आगे में 200 मीटर्स के बाद मतलब गांव मिल जाएगा।
यहाँ पर अभी हालत कैसा है?
हालत तो अभी तो थोड़ा ठीक है और पहले से ज्यादा अच्छा है।
अच्छा, अभी बाजार में आना जाना
सकता है, लेकिन थोड़ा जगह में फ्लड है, पानी है अभी भी, उसको क्लियर करने लगे।
कोई आया था क्या खबर लेने का लोग?
हाँ, यहाँ का एमएससी मंजिल नाइडिंग आया एक बार, और दूसरा तो कोई नहीं आया। उसका बाद आप लोग आया। जो घर में मतलब जो घर फ्लड हो गया और जिसका बागान है वो सबको थोड़ा देखने से हो गया, मतलब रोड ये सब बनाने से, वो तो हम लोग गाँव भी थोड़ा मदद करने से हो जाएगा, थोड़ा मिलके काम करने से।
ज्यादा नुकसान क्या हुआ है?
नुकसान तो घर भी हुआ है, और सब 5 घर यहाँ में डूबा है, और बागान भी बहुत हुआ है।
हाँ। इस पर देखा गया कि यहाँ पे बहुत सारा पानी है, इस पर खेती क्या होगा?
फिर खेती तो नहीं होगा इस बार।
नहीं होगा ना?
हाँ।
किसी को पानी खेती नुकसान हुआ, किसी को जुम खेती भी चले गया, किसी का बागान भी नुकसान हुआ, किसी को पानी नाला, खेती का नाला भी तो बर्बाद हुआ, किसी का लाइन नहीं है, पानी लेने नहीं सकता, खेती करने को उपाय नहीं है, ऐसा हो रहा है। पब्लिक को बहुत तकलीफ मिला, रास्ता ब्लॉक हुआ, जाने आने नहीं सकता, स्कूल भी बंद हुआ, कॉलेज भी बंद हुआ, गाड़ी घोड़ा चलने नहीं सका।
नॉर्थ ईस्ट लाइव इज द फर्स्ट चैनल जो इस गांव में विजिट किया है, और कोई भी न्यूज चैनल यहाँ पे नहीं आया है, और यही है जो फ्लड इफेक्टेड एरिया हम कह सकते हैं। डिमा हासांग का अगर फ्लड इफेक्टेड एरिया का हम बात करें तो ये थाइजुआरी इलाका जो है फ्लड इफेक्टेड है, क्योंकि ज़्यादातर, लेकिन यहाँ का जो फ्लड जो है डोयोंग रिवर जो है, डोयोंग नदी से ज़्यादा पानी बढ़ जाने की वजह से यहाँ में जो है पूरे गाँव को अपनी पानी जो है अपनी जपेट में ले लिया था, और साथ में बहुत सारा नुकसान हुआ है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर खेती ही इन लोगों का जो मेन सोर्स ऑफ इनकम होता है, जो अपने रोजगार होते हैं। उसके बाद अगर ये खेती इस बार नहीं कर पाएगा तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा तकलीफ हो सकता है। यहाँ पर जो बागान है, बहुत कुछ है, और धान खेत में देखा गया कि पानी ही पानी है, अभी भी पानी नहीं सूखा है। लगभग 15 दिन से भी ज़्यादा हो गया है, गाँव वाला कहने का मतलब 15 दिन से भी ज़्यादा हो गया है, लेकिन अभी तक भी पूरी जगह में पानी थोड़ा बहुत सूख गया है, लेकिन अभी भी पानी सूखना बहुत ही बाकी है।
And on to Manipur now. Fresh cases of African swine fever have been reported in Manipur. Speaking to Northeast Live, Dr. Ibotombi, Director of Veterinary and Animal Husbandry Services, confirmed that cases of African swine fever have been detected in Manipur's Kamjong district. Dr. Ibotombi said that measures to stop further spread of the diseases have already been put in place. He further added that the district magistrate of Kamjong on Thursday notified the infected zone and surveillance zone after confirmation of the outbreak among pigs in the Dang's piggery farming owned by one Gideon Shadang at Grihang village. The owner of the farm reported to the veterinary department regarding the sudden jump in pigs' mortality rate, and the district veterinary officials visited the site and collected clinical samples. After a throughout clinical test, it has been confirmed about the outbreak of African swine fever. As many as 80 pigs, including piglets, in the farm have reportedly died of the infection, which started in the later part of April and early part of May. Dr. Ebotombi further added that the good part here is that the Dang's piggery farming is around 4 kilometers far from other piggery farms and human habitat.
Grihang village, it is under Kamjong district. There is one innovative piggery farmer is there. His name is Gideon. He is having one piggery farm is there. And suddenly on 11th May, he reported it regarding the mortality in his pig there like that. Then so they conducted necessary post-mortem there on the spot, and they have collected sufficient clinical samples. We got a confirmation result that the outbreak was due to African swine fever. It's a notifiable disease and a transboundary disease, which has been cross border. It comes to our state. There is total ban of selling of any pork or bringing of any pork, any pigs, live pigs, and taking away from pigs, taking away pigs from that village. These are all restricted.
And time for a very short break now. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
Baby, এইটো লো নে এইটো 5th জুনত মিছৰ সেল আছে নহয় তেন্তে এইটো আৰু এইটো লৈ লোৱা
মিছৰ মহা ইণ্ডিয়ান সেভিং সেল 5th জুনত
আনন্দৰ উৎসৱ বিহু আহিছে ঘৰে ঘৰে আহাৰৰ সোৱাদ জাগিছে Everyday Spices wishes you a happy bihu Everyday Spice
Himalaya Purifying Neem Face Wash. এও এক্সপার্ট কেনে কই?
এটো ক্লিনিক্যালি প্রুভেন হয় যে ইয়ার আছে নিম আৰু হালধিৰ এন্টিব্যাকটেৰিয়েল গুণ যি পিম্পল আটল কৰে আৰু স্কিন কৰি তোলে একেবাৰে হেলদি।
Wow!
Himalaya Purifying Neem Face Wash. Pimple free healthy skin or expert.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Welcome back. You're watching Northeast Live and moving on now. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma continues his mega campaign for the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council polls. Chief Minister Sharma addressed as many as 4 rallies today, promising to bring development to every nook and corner of Karbi Anglong. Besides making the development pitch, Chief Minister Sharma also reached out to farmers today, promising to find markets for their produce outside the district, which will fetch better prices. Meanwhile, during one of the rallies, around 400 people from other parties joined the BJP, adding to the strength of the Saffron Party in Karbi Anglong.
মোক দেওপানী ৰাইজে কৈছে যে ইয়াত মাটিৰ পট্টাৰ বহুত সমস্যা আছে হয়নে আৰু আমাৰ এসডিসি অফিসত কেইটামান মানুহ আছে বাপেকৰ মাটিও মাকৰ নামত পুতেকৰ নামত ট্ৰান্সফাৰ কৰি নিদিয়ে দিগদাৰি কৰি থাকে হয়নে আৰু বহুত টকা পইচাও খুজে হয়নে এই কথাখিনি মই গম পাইছো যি ট্ৰিটমেন্ট কৰিব লাগে মই 2 দিনত কৰি আছো ঠিক আছে ডাক্তৰে যেনেকে পেশেন্টক ট্ৰিটমেন্ট কৰে এতিয়া অসমতো আমি টকা খোৱা মানুহক ট্ৰিটমেন্ট কৰি আছো ধুনিয়া ধুনিয়াকৈ ভাল ভাল কৰি ট্ৰিটমেণ্ট কৰি আছো কিছুমান গাঁৱত এতিয়াও ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি গৈ পোৱা নাই হয়নে আৰু অলপ ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটিটো ইয়াত মাজে মাজে গৈ থাকে অলপ লুকা ভাকু খেলি থাকে হয়নে বেছিকৈ খেলে ইয়াতে অলিম্পিকত যাব খুজিছে নেকি যি নহওক আমি লুকা ভাকু খেলাটো বন্ধ কৰি আমি ক'ব লাগিব বুৱাৰী যেনেকে পাৰ্মানেন্ট ঘৰত আহি যায় তেনেকে ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটিও পাৰ্মানেন্টকৈ দেওপানীত আহি যাব লাগিব গোটেই অসমৰ চাহ বাগিচাৰ মালিকক মই আজিৰ পৰা ইয়াৰ পৰা আকৌ এবাৰ কৈছো যে যদি কোনোবা বাগানৰ মানুহক বাগিচাত প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী আৱাস যোজনাৰ ঘৰ বনাব নিদিয়ে তেতিয়াহলে কিন্তু চৰকাৰে আপোনালোকক কঠোৰৰ পৰা কঠোৰতম ব্যৱস্থা আপোনালোকৰ বিৰুদ্ধে লব ইয়াতে বাকি দলক ভোট দিলে আমাৰ হৈ কোনেও একো কৰিব নোৱাৰে টৰ্চ লাইটৰটো বেটাৰীয়ে নাই হয় নহয় আৰু কংগ্ৰেছৰ হাতটো দেখিলে দেখিব বডিটো বেলেগ হাতটো বেলেগ যদি হাতটো বডিতে নাই তাহলে হাতটোৱে কি কৰিব হয়নে কাটা হাতৰটো কাম নাই আছে জানো আৰু কি পাৰ্টি উঠিছে নিৰ্দলীয় কোট কোট ঘূৰি ফুৰে এইবিলাকৰ কি আছে মইতো নিৰ্দলীয়ক ভোট দিলে আমাৰ কি লাভ হ'ব যত বিজেপিয়ে 3টা ইঞ্জিন লৈ দৌৰি আছে তাত আৰু কংগ্ৰেছৰ কিবা কাম আছে নেকি কওকচোন যে কংগ্ৰেছক ভোট দিলে সমাজৰটো একো উন্নতি নহয় টৰ্চ লাইটক ভোট দিলেতো কাজিয়া পেচালহে আৰম্ভ হ'ব আৰু বেলেগ দলবিলাকক ভোট দিলে আমাৰ কাৰ্বি আলঙৰ শান্তি সম্প্ৰীতি আৰু সমন্বয়টো ভাঙি যাব
Addressing a gathering, Chief Minister Sharma also reached out to the Gorkha community of Assam, stating that no one should dare call them outsiders.
আজি আমাৰ ইয়াতে গুৰখা ভাই বন্ধু সকলো আছে আপোনালোকেতো অলৰেডি গম পাইছে যে ট্ৰাইবেল বেল্ট এণ্ড ব্লকতো আমি অসমৰ সব জায়গাত গুৰখাক সমান পাৱাৰ দিছো আৰু একদম পুলিচ বিলাকক ওয়াৰ্নিং দি দিছো যে কোনো গুৰখাক বিদেশী বুলি হাংগামা কৰিব নোৱাৰিব আপোনালোকে শুনা পাইছেতো মই কৈছো যে গুৰখা মানুহ অসমত বহুত 100-200 বছৰ আগত আহা মানুহ পুলিচ বিলাকে পিছত আহিছে নেকি গুৰখাতকৈ ঠিক নাই হয়নে সেইকাৰণে অসমত বিজেপি চৰকাৰ আহাৰ পিছত গুৰখা লোকৰ ওপৰত এতিয়া কোনেও অত্যাচাৰ নকৰে এতিয়া মই সিস্টেম বনাই আছো লাহে লাহে আপোনালোকে ওবিসি সাৰ্টিফিকেটটো কম্পিউটাৰতে পাই যাব কোনো কষ্ট কৰিব নালাগে কোনো পাব্লিকৰ হাৰাশাস্তি খাব নালাগে
All right, back to Sikkim. The Sikkim government is all set to introduce the odd-even formula in Gangtok. The odd-even rule is being brought in to manage the heavy traffic issues within the areas of the Gangtok Municipal Corporation. The odd-even rules will not be in place during weekends and on public holidays. Meanwhile, vehicles associated with emergency services would be exempted from the odd-even rules. Meanwhile, the government's decision to bring in the odd-even system has evoked mixed reactions from the people. Listen in.
एज अ टैक्सी ड्राइवर मुझे लगता है कि सही भी है क्योंकि जो गैंगटॉक में जाम का प्रॉब्लम है उसको थोड़ा तो एक बार ट्राई करके जो गवर्नमेंट देख रहे हैं उस बेस पे ये अच्छा है जो टाइम पीरियड रखा है उसके बाद जो गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करेगा वही तो बेस्ट रहेगा ना
आपको लगता है कि टैक्सी में भी ऑड इवन होना चाहिए
टैक्सी में तो नहीं होना चाहिए क्योंकि ये कमर्शियल गाड़ी है अगर ऑड इवन होने से क्या होगा कि ये रोज कमा के खाने हैं ना वेजेस सिस्टम है तो वेजेस सिस्टम में तो पब्लिक को और प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा आज कमाएगा और आज ही खाएगा इसीलिए टैक्सी में तो कमी नहीं होना चाहिए मुझे लगता है
ठीक ही है गवर्नमेंट अब सोचा कर रहा है तो सही रहेगा हम लोग का भी कमाई अच्छा होगा ऑड इवन में अभी जाम पूरा हो लगता है यहाँ देखिए अभी जाम भी बहुत सारा है अभी यहाँ हम लोग को दिक्कत हो रहा है ऑड इवन होने से अच्छा ही रहेगा
टैक्सी में भी ऑड इवन होना चाहिए
मेरा थिंक में तो मुझे लगता है होना चाहिए अब दूसरा लोग को क्या बोल सकते हैं फायदा तो क्या होगा जाम में रुकना नहीं पड़ेगा गाड़ी का क्लच प्लेट बचेगा थोड़ा मेंटेनेंस शरीर को भी आराम मिलेगा कमाई भी थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही होगा एक दिन का 2 दिन का कमाई हो जाएगा
All right, staying with Sikkim, in a tragic news coming in from the state, well, as many as 4 persons lost their lives in a tragic road accident in Sikkim. The road mishap occurred at Meyong in North Sikkim on the Mangan-Chungthang axis. 4 bodies have been recovered from the site by search and rescue teams engaged in the operations. Locals are also cooperating with the police in the search and rescue operations. And on to national focus now, the Enforcement Directorate has issued fresh summons to Congress leader Rahul Gandhi in connection with the National Herald case. This is the second summons served by the ED asking Rahul Gandhi to appear before the probe agency on June 13 in the alleged money laundering case. Earlier, the ED had issued summons to both Congress interim president Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi on Wednesday. However, Sonia Gandhi has tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, after which she is in isolation. Meanwhile, the Congress affirmed that the Congress interim president is determined to appear before the ED on June 8th. Moving on now. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today chaired a high-level meeting in Delhi over the recent spate of targeted killings in Jammu and Kashmir. The meeting was attended by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Army Chief General Manoj Pandey, Jammu and Kashmir top cop Dilbagh Singh, and the Chief of RAW Samant Goel. The Union Territory has been witnessing a spike in the number of targeted killings over the last few months. 8 people have been killed since May 1st. On Thursday, a laborer from Bihar, Dilkush Kumar, was shot dead by terrorists in Budgam. In Kulgam, a bank employee from Rajasthan was killed the same day. It was the 8th targeted killing and the 3rd non-Muslim government employee killed. On Wednesday, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, decided to transfer all Hindu government employees to the district headquarters in the Kashmir Valley following a high-level meeting with top officials from both the police and civil administration in Srinagar. The Hindu government employees serving in the far-flung areas will be transferred to district headquarters in the Kashmir Valley, while the government will ensure proper security and secure accommodation for all Hindu government employees in Jammu and Kashmir. Employees too have been protesting against the recent attacks. They are seeking transfer to Jammu from Kashmir. Last month, over 350 government employees in the Kashmir Valley, all Kashmiri Pandits, submitted their resignations to Manoj Sinha a day after their colleague Rahul Bhatt was murdered by terrorists. The Pandits said they no longer feel safe. Well, news and updates continue on Northeast Live, so stay tuned for more news. Thanks for watching.
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look.